lunch. By all means, please enjoy your lunch. Continue eating. I'm sure the mayor won't mind. But it is my pleasure to introduce our mayor, Bob Odenkirk. Bob is a graduate of the University of Illinois from 1991 and the John Marshall Law School in 2003. Prior to becoming an attorney, Bob worked as a Joliet police officer for 10 years, where he worked as both a patrolman and in plainclothes capacity. During that time, Bob was a highly decorated officer who was nominated 4 times for Officer of the Year and was the 1995 winner of the Martin S. Burn Labor Award. Bob was an elected officer on the local Fraternal Order of Police Executive Board and participated in contract negotiations, arbitration hearings, and disciplinary hearings. While still working as a police officer, Bob enrolled at the John Marshall Law School and completed his degree in 4 years. He wrote and edited for the John Marshall Law Review and graduated with honors. After graduation, Bob left the police department and took employment as an assistant corporate counsel for the city of Chicago. As city prosecutor, Bob was assigned to task force which worked in conjunction with the Chicago Police Narcotics Team and the Cook County State's Attorney's Office in prosecuting narcotic conspiracy cases within the city of Chicago. After working for 3 years as a prosecutor, Bob began working in private practice where he litigated countless criminal, family cases, and employment right cases. In 2008, he was recruited to work with the United States Department of State in Iraq. He was deployed in August of 2008 to assist the United States Army in its efforts to rebuild, train, mentor, and advise the Iraqi police. Approximately 6 months into his deployment, Bob was promoted to the position of regional commander for the north of Iraq in the Tikrit and Mosul regions. In this position, Bob worked with numerous high-level officers in both the U.S. Army and the Iraqi police services. After 20 months serving in Iraq, Bob returned to the U.S. and resumed his practice of law and became a partner at Odenkirk, Allred, and Associates here in Joliet. In April of 2011, he was elected to Joliet City Council for the 2nd District and elected our mayor in 2015. Bob is married to Rebecca, and they are raising their blended family on the near west side of Joliet and are parishioners at St. Martin's Cathedral. Please join me in welcoming Bob Odenkirk.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming out. I want to start by thanking the Chamber of Commerce for this annual event. This didn't always occur in Joliet, but it's a real good event. I enjoy doing this every year, and I enjoy getting accurate information about what's happening within the city of Joliet. So thank you, Mary and Mike in the Chamber. Also, thank you to Renaissance Center. It's a beautiful room and a great meal. Thank you for having us here. I would like to welcome some of the elected officials that are here today. I apologize if I'm missing anyone, but from the Joliet City Council, Councilman Terry Morris is here. From the Will County Board, Denise Winfrey, Jennifer Bertino-Tanner from the Illinois State Senate. Our state's attorney, Jim Glasgow, is here. Nick Palmer is representing County Executive Larry Walsh. Ken Harris from the Will County Board is here. Joe Baltz from Troy Township, and Tyler Martin from the Will County Board. Thank you for coming out and joining us today. I would also like to point out the members of my law firm that are here. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for all the support you're getting throughout the year. You know, being mayor of Joliet's a part-time job, but the reality is it's about an 80-hour-a-week job. So I do want to thank my law firm, especially my partner, Leslie Allred, and my new partner, Tom Rhodes. Congratulations, Tom. Thanks for coming, guys. My mother is here, Mary Odenkirk. Thanks for coming, Mom. And my mother-in-law, Ruth Evans, and my wonderful wife, Rebecca. I think it's no secret, Rebecca had been sick, so the last couple of years, her attendance weren't always here, but you're here today, you're feeling good, so we're very thankful. I love you, thank you for coming out today. Welcome and thank all the city staff that's here. We have a great staff in the city of Joliet, hardworking people, and obviously there's been a lot of turmoil at City Hall. They're working through it every day, so I give you a lot of credit. Thank you for coming out. Specifically, Marty Shanahan, I would like just to take a moment to point out, Marty is the Corporation Counsel for the City of Joliet. In the last 3 years, there's been 2 different occasions where Marty stepped out of his role and became the interim city manager, once after the retirement of Jim Hock and once after the departure of David Hales. So Marty did that role for 20 months. I thought he did an outstanding job. And obviously, I'm not going to get too deep into this today, but I do want to personally, publicly thank Marty for his hard work, for the good job he did. He deserved better than what he got from the city council. But again, Marty, thank you for your service to the people of Joliet. So then before I get started, I do have, I think it's a big announcement. I see some media members here today. This kind of came to me last week. We've been going through an ongoing search for city manager. It's been going on since last May. And I had what I thought was a bright idea. So if I can announce it here for the first time, I may have solved the problem of the new Joliet city manager. This is the benefit of my colleagues, because some of them might not realize this is a joke. So, okay, so look, I've talked about the turmoil. It's been active in the news. It's been ongoing. For 4 years as mayor, I came here and gave this speech, and every year I would report positive economic news. The city of Joliet was doing better every year. Unfortunately, I can't say that for 2019. The good news is that the numbers aren't off much. It's off a click from where they were before, but they are off. So I think it's a reflection of what's going on at City Hall. It should serve as a challenge both to myself and to the council to straighten these problems out. But let me run through the numbers real quick. In 2018 gaming revenue, the city made $17.8 million. Last year, $17.3 million. In sales tax, 2018, the city collected $50.2 million. Last year, $49.6 million. The hotel motel tax in 18, $2.7 million. Last year, $2.6 million. Building permits were off from $1.8 million to $1.7 million last year. Real estate transfer tax was off from $3.1 million to $2.2 million. The water tap-on fees were down from $1.1 million to $849,000. In the total general fund revenue went from $182 million in 2018 to $181 million in 2019. So again, it's not off significantly, but it's the first year in the last 5 years that the city is going in the wrong direction. There is some positive news I want to point out. Two things I'm going to signal out. One has to do with the city's legal department. When I became mayor in 2015, we made wholesale changes to the legal department and the way our legal department did business within the city. There's a lot of facets to this, but the one number I'm going to point out today has to do with what we're paying out in legal claims. In 2013, the city of Joliet paid out $905,000 in legal claims. In 2014, we paid out $2.1 million. Last year, again, those numbers are way down, $250,000. So it's a great number. Congratulations, Marty Shanahan, Sabrina Spano, and Chris Regis, our excellent corporation councils. Thank you for a job well done. The other real positive economic note I want to point out has to do with the value of property in Joliet, the assessed value of property in Joliet. After the recession in 2008, Joliet property, as many of you know, took a serious hit, and it went down yearly from 2008 through 2014. 2015 was the first time that city property saw a turnaround in value. And last year when I gave this speech after 4 years as mayor, I reported over a 4-year period, property increased 21.06% in Joliet. I'm happy to say that trend continued in 2019. Property rose another 8.77% in Joliet. So over the last 5 years, if you own a piece of property in Joliet, on average, your property value went up 30%. It's a great number, and that's one that we want to continue tracking moving forward. So to talk about economic development in Joliet, I've said this story a few times, but I'll repeat it today. I was elected in 2011. Myself and Councilman Morris and Councilman Hugg were all freshman council members. And Councilman Hugg had the idea of naming an economic development director for the city. Now, we had community development directors, never a pure economic development director, as well as appoint an economic development committee. That idea was rejected by the former mayor and the former city council. When I was elected in 2015, Councilman Hugg again pitched the idea, and we took him up on it. And that's Steve Jones was hired as the city's first economic development director. Later, we hired Derek Conley as an assistant. The 4-year numbers I reported last year speak for themselves. $1.4 billion in private investment in Joliet over a 4-year period. It's an incredible stretch, I think, unlike anything the city had ever seen. So that's what we've done for 4 or 5 years. That's been how the basis of our local economy is local development. They did continue in 2019. Of course, Steve is not now working now as the Economic Development Director. He's working as the interim city manager. Derek Conley has stepped up and done a great job. I think it's imperative that we do find a new city manager and put the team back in place to continue what we have done for 4 years. But to talk about some of the high points from 2019, Target opened a super warehouse that's down on Route 6. This building was meant to support all the local Target stores in our store operations in the area. They're employing 300 new employees. It's a 1.2 million square foot facility. Plaza Fitness is moving into the old Ultra Foods that was abandoned. It's 58,500 square feet. They're hoping to open late summer of this year. This is going to include free weights, basketball court, swimming pool, racquetball court, etc. Hawk Subaru and Mazda opened their facility out on Route 59 in Cape Farm. I was out there at a chamber event about a month ago. It's a beautiful facility. And the quick backstory on Hawk, they were probably this close from leaving Joliet. And at the 11th hour, myself and Steve Jones and Marty Shanahan got involved and made a deal to keep Hawk in Joliet. I'm glad they stayed. It's a great part of our local economy. And again, the new development on the west side is terrific. Pottery Barn came in Joliet in 2020 to fill the former Gander Mountain that was left abandoned at I-55 around 30. Pottery Barn is a 55,000 square foot facility. And I know I got a lot of compliments, a lot of positive feedback from Joliet residents. Does a great job by our economic development team. It's been in the news recently. Marriott Springfield Suites, the new hotel in downtown Joliet. They're occupying the old Barrett's building on Ottawa Street. The plan is for 82 rooms in this hotel. They're going to build up 2 levels on top of the building that's already there. This will include a restaurant and a Starbucks kiosk. And this is an $18 million investment in downtown Joliet. So that's probably the biggest investment in downtown since Harrah's. Welcome, Marriott. Thank you for your investment in Joliet. On Joliet's east side, at Collins and Jackson Street, is the Thorns gas station. That was approved by the city council. They're coming into Joliet. This is an east side investment, $5 million in private money. Again, obviously we love private money coming to Joliet, especially coming to areas that have not seen that type of investment in many, many years. Welcome Thorns, they're looking to hire 15 or 20 new employees at that facility. The Rise, I'm not sure how to refer to it other than Rise, that's the recreational cannabis facility opened on January 1st out near Louis Joliet Mall. I don't have numbers from Rise, it's preliminary. I know that they've been knocking it out as far as business-wise. I see lines every time I go past it. I can report Rise has been good community partners. They've hired Joliet police officers to work there off duty. I don't know of any reports of any criminal activity or any police activity at Rise. So, and hopefully, well, next year we'll have the numbers, but I want to welcome Rise to our city. Along those lines, Cresco Labs, they're currently located in Center Point. That has been a cannabis cultivation center that already existed in Joliet. They've come forward. They are going to be looking to expand their operations. They're actually planning a job fair in the near future. So Cresco is going to double down and increase their investment in Joliet. Thank you, Cresco. Love's Truck Stop. This has been an issue the last couple of years. The construction was delayed at Love's for the last year. And part of the reason why, and I think the reason why some of us were very excited about Love's was beyond what they were doing at Briggs and I-80. They were going to build city infrastructure and bring it into that intersection. That infrastructure has delayed the project. They're going to begin building this spring, and we're happy to see Love's come. We're also excited about what's going to come behind them. Now that city water and sewers in that location, that's an intersection that should develop on Joliet's east side. Again, that was a $13 million investment. They're going to bring 60 or 70 jobs with them. An estimated annual revenue of $1.2 million to the city of Joliet. Another east side project, the 13th floor. This is going to go with the old women's prison on Joliet on the west side of Collins Street. They entered a 3-year agreement with the city of Joliet. This is a national chain, haunted house, escape room, entertainment venue. They are looking to hire a startup hire of 100 to 120 seasonal employees, and they've indicated to Joliet that that number will go up once they get into business. But again, another investment on the east side. I think it's exciting and another facet of what's gone on at the prison the last couple of years. Welcome 13th floor. At Route 3955, the old truck stop, which had been abandoned for the last 10 or 15 years, is coming back to life. This is a great story, and Steve Jones and Derek Conley and Marty all deserve credit for this. This was a deal that Joliet worked out with the Village of Plainfield. Most of that property is in Plainfield, but the entrance in a small sliver of the property is in Joliet. And obviously, the big announcement was made last year that Costco is coming to that property. It's a big announcement for our entire area. But we worked out an agreement with Plainfield where there's profit sharing for the city of Joliet. We also are marketing a 100,000 square foot portion of property that we're looking for mixed-use development. So again, it's a real success story. It's two different communities working together to take an abandoned property, put it back on the market. Everyone benefits from it. So thank you, staff, for the hard work on the boulevard. A couple smaller developments, and there's a ton. I'm with the chamber probably once a week. There's a ribbon cutting somewhere in Joliet. These two I want to point out because I think they're very popular with Joliet residents. Panera Bread opened last week. They're going into the old Applebee's on Jefferson Street, and Chick-fil-A out at Louis Joliet Mall, the former Lone Star Steakhouse. They're planning to open in 2020. So one other thing I want to mention that's going to open, Joliet signed an agreement. It's going to open in 2020. Is GP Transco at 3200 Shanahan Road. Again, this is off of Route 6 to the south. They've already broken ground. They're constructing a 40,000 square foot facility. What's exciting about GP Transco is it's another corporate headquarters coming into the city of Joliet. They are going to bring with them 100 jobs for their headquarters. This is the fourth corporate headquarters to open inside the city of Joliet in the last 5 years. It's a street that I don't think ever has happened in this city before. And again, I enjoy forums like this where I can spread this information, get the news out there. I've heard a lot lately about temp jobs and warehouse jobs, and it's certainly part of the local economy, but it can't be understated. The city council many years ago, and when I was a councilman before I was mayor, identified this as a goal to attract corporate headquarters to Joliet, and we're doing it. So thank you, GP Transco. Thank you to M2M in Motion, to Cadence Premier Logistics, and to Illinois Marine Towing in the last 5 years. Again, 4 headquarters in Joliet. It can't be understated that we are diversifying the new jobs that are coming into the city. Okay, so every year, when I get past the numbers of the economic development, I kind of highlight a few different topics I want to talk about. I'm going to start with the Rialto Theater this year. This is a real success story. Again, I think it's been underreported a little bit, so I want to take this forum to give a little rundown to what's happening at the theater. When I was elected mayor in 2015, that fall, things came to head with the Rialto Theater. The board and some of their members came to a council meeting. It became very heated between the city council person and some of the people on the board. There was a lot of negative media directed at the city over this exchange. We found out about 2 months later in January of that year that the Rialto was not being honest with the city. And this is a Chamber of Commerce event. I think people here can understand the significance. They were not paying their federal or state payroll tax. They were paying themselves and their employees and not the tax. So we found out in January, February what was happening at the theater. Essentially, the bill was stuck with the city. Either Joliet coughed up tens of thousands of dollars or the theater's going to close. There were shows that were booked, tickets that were sold that the Rialto had already spent the money on, and the performers were going to pull out. So again, the call was for Joliet to step up and bail the Rialto Theater out. So myself and the majority of the council took a hard line on this and demanded changes in the way the theater was going to do business. At one point, the city manager, Jim Hogg, floated the idea of Joliet taking over the theater, which got a real resounding no from our community, probably correct. But the point was that the days of writing a blank check to the Rialto were going to be over. And again, it was very contentious. I took a lot of heat. City council members who stood with me took a lot of heat. But I'm happy to report we made the right decision. I want to thank those council members that stood tall on this. Since then, the theater brought in VenueWorks. The theater brought in a whole new board. The former board resigned, and the theater brought in Val Devine to run the operation. And the numbers and the turnaround at the Rialto has been astounding. Just to give you an idea of where they were. 2014, the Rialto was making $2.02 million in revenue. In 2015, $1.79 million. In 2016, $2.2 million. Last year, 3 years later, the Rialto's reporting revenue of over $3 million. That's over 30% up from where they were 3 or 4 years ago. The number of shows they're bringing in the 2014-15 season, 53 shows. The next year, 51 shows. 2016, 33 shows at the Rialto. Last year, 139 shows. It's 4 times what they were doing before. So again, I want to give a big thank you to the Rialto board, the VenueWorks, and the Val Devine. topic I want to spend a little bit of time on is the city water. Again, I don't think it's news to anybody, but a quick rundown. The city of Joliet draws their water from a deep water aquifer. We've been on that aquifer since 1907. Since the 1960s, the city of Joliet was monitoring the aquifer. We knew it was being depleted, and we knew the day was going to come when Joliet was going to have to switch off the aquifer. This isn't a Joliet problem, it's a regional problem. We currently have 21 deep groundwater wells and 5 shallow wells in Joliet. In 2017, I reformed the environmental committee. It was in the city ordinance, it was on the books, but the committee had not been active for some time. And the committee was charged with the task of investigating and making recommendations to the city council about a new source of water. So with the hard work of Allison Swisher, our water director, we hired an engineering firm. The committee has done a 2-year search. The city spent over $1 million researching this, eliminating different sources of water. In November of last year, the committee made their recommendations to the council. The committee recommended that Joliet purchase this water from Lake Michigan via the city of Hammond, that Joliet drop a line or negotiate with Hammond to secure water rights and pump the water back to Joliet. When it came to the city council in January, the council accepted that recommendation. They tweaked it a little bit, telling that Joliet should also keep negotiations open with the city of Chicago or with other communities on the lakefront. So that's where we're at now, just as an update. This is going to be a 10-year process as far as negotiating the deal, acquiring land rights, and then building the pipeline from Lake Michigan to Joliet. We also have to rework our entire water system internally. We have to build new pumping stations. So this is a monumental process that we're in, but we are doing it. I said 2 years ago we had no choice. We had to make this change, and we're doing it. As far as the Lake Michigan option, I want to give the city council credit for forward thinking on this. It wasn't the cheapest option. It's not the easiest option, but I think long term it makes the most sense. I think if we picked a different option, very likely 20 or 30 years from now, future mayor, future city council will be back at the table to deal with what would have been a mistake. Lake Michigan is the cleanest source of water. It's clearly the most sustainable source of water. And it's also going to allow Joliet to maintain control over our water system like we have since 1907. So again, we're offering a regional solution. We know that we have the ability to do this ourselves. We are actively looking for partners. I can tell you other communities are coming to the table. They want to work with Joliet. They want to partner up on this. A couple weeks ago, I gave a speech at a Will County Governmental League luncheon with Allison Swisher, and we are getting a response. So this is going to be an ongoing thing, but I do want to give a lot of credit to the environmental committee, to Allison Swisher. They put in hundreds of hours on this, and then to the city council for the tough decision that was made in 2019. A couple other things I'm going to touch on. One is infrastructure. It's very topical right now with the North Point proposal, and I'm going to get to that next. But I talked about $1.4 billion in development. Those numbers are real, and we've seen it. We've seen how congested city roads have become. I-80, I-55, everyone's aware of it. So myself as mayor and other council people have been screaming along with other mayors, we know what we're doing in the state of Illinois. I spoke with Governor Rauner about this. I spoke with Governor Pritzker about this. We believe Joliet, Will County is the economic bright spot of Will County. I don't know where else they have the development and the private money coming in like we do in our area. And the infrastructure had been lagging behind. Well, Hampton announced, and again, it's not news, but in 2019, the state of Illinois has heard our concerns and they've begun to address the infrastructure issues. Senator Bettino, you were made part of this, so thank you for your advocacy for the city of Joliet and for our area. Governor Pritzker announced his capital bill last summer, and this means billions of dollars coming to the Joliet region for road improvements. I'm going to talk about some of the things that specifically are going to come to our city that was announced in the last year. If you deal with I-80, it's an estimated $1.2 billion project to improve I-80. This will include projecting to add a lane from Ridge Road all the way through to Route 30 in New Lenox. It projects a complete rerouting and rebuilding of the Des Plaines River Bridge. Obviously, that was in the news in the last year. What's going to be done is a whole new bridge will be built. The current bridge is going to be torn down. That's part of this $1.2 billion project. We are looking at complete reconstructions of the Center Street interchange off of I-80, the Chicago Street interchange, the Larkin Avenue interchange, the interchange at I-55 and I-80, and considerable improvements to Richard Street interchange off of I-80. This is going to include widening and reconstructing all bridges at I-80 between Route 30 and New Lenox and Ridge Road. It's going to include the Hobolt Road project, the Hobolt Road interchange. The money's already been allocated to the city of Joliet. We are redoing and going to completely reconfigure the interchange at Hobolt Road and I-80. The city of Joliet, with that money, is going to widen Hobolt Road from I-80 south to Route 6. And then the Hobolt Road project, private funds are going to build a road and a bridge south from Route 6 over the river into Center Point. That project should have started a year ago. There was an 11th-hour lawsuit from one of the railroads with right-of-ways, which delayed the process. I know the county board just voted last week. Nick Palmer's here. Thank you, Nick, and Larry Walsh for your leadership on this. That project is going to begin. We should see construction there in the next 30 to 60 days. The Hobolt Road Bridge is going to be built. Beyond that, we learned last year in CMAP's 5-year plan that the funding will be available for the Cullinan project to build a new interchange from Route 55 directly onto that property of 55 and 80. This is huge. This is what we've all been waiting for. I want to thank CMAP and everybody who advocated for this, our federal and state legislators. Obviously, the Cullinan project we've talked about in years past. This is one the city council held off for a long time. That news from CMAP that the money is coming for that interchange was big news. That project is going to move forward in the near future, hopefully in 2020, if not shortly after that. And then just to highlight some of the other road projects in the city, just to give an idea of the ongoing infrastructure work we're doing. The city of Joliet is making interchange improvements at Route 53 and Emerald Drive. This will include added lanes and a new traffic signal. The city of Joliet is going to make road improvements on Theodore Road on the west side from Droughton Avenue all the way to Route 59. This also will include added lanes and traffic signals. The city of Joliet next week is going to begin the process of opening up Chicago Street. We've talked about that in years past. That construction was also delayed a year because of other sewer and infrastructure improvements in downtown. That construction is going to begin next week. The city of Joliet is currently going to interconnect all the traffic lights on Black Road from Route 59 all the way through 6 Corners to enhance the commute through that passage. So all total last year, Joliet spent $3.5 million in street resurfacing or rebuilding streets. That was 45 streets citywide. So a great year with the infrastructure. It was, I think, neglected for a long time, but no more. Over the next 5 to 10 years, you are going to see billions of dollars being invested in the Joliet area on Joliet roads and new infrastructure. So that was a great achievement that we did last year. So I'm going to end the speech. I'm going to talk for a couple minutes about the North Point development. Obviously, this is topical. I think everyone's familiar with this. North Point currently owns land inside the city of Joliet. They own land in Elwood, and I believe they own some land in Manhattan. They also own 1,300 or 1,400 acres in unincorporated Will County, south of Joliet. A couple of years ago, North Point looked to develop that land with Elwood. They wanted Elwood to annex the property. That was met with fierce local resistance, and that project was rejected. During that period, there was a lot of attempts to pull Joliet and myself personally into that conversation, and I think myself and the city council at the time did the right thing by staying out of it. I didn't think it was my place to go to Elwood and lecture Elwood city officials and the Elwood mayor about what I thought about North Point. Since that time, North Point applied for zoning changes with Will County, and then after January 1st, North Point has approached the city of Joliet and made a proposal for Joliet to annex the property in. So at 4 o'clock today, it's going in front of our planning commission. Just last Friday, the city publicly announced what the deal that had been struck with North Point. So I'm going to get the highlights of that deal today. There are two sides of the argument on North Point. I'm not going to advocate for one or the other, but one of the things that I've seen the last couple of months with some of the opponents of this is a lot of misinformation about what the project means and what it will or won't cost the city, what the benefits are to the city. So I'm going to use this forum just to give some accurate information, because I think ultimately that's what we need to deal with and not misinformation. The current proposal that the city has worked out or negotiated with North Point. Number one, North Point is asking for no tax incentives from the city of Joliet. They're not asking for a TIF district. They're going to pay full taxes from day one. North Point is going to pay all permit fees or all tap-on fees to the city of Joliet. The proposal calls for North Point to pay all infrastructure improvements within the park. Any new roads that need to be built or sewage or water, North Point's paying for everything. That will not cost Joliet residents. The negotiation contemplates North Point will pay Joliet $2 million up front and 33 cents per square foot developed within the park. And the total build out North Point is estimating 16 million square feet. As one caveat to that, you can do the math, but Joliet put an incentive in there that if North Point develops something other than logistics or trucking or warehousing, that 33 cents would apply. And the idea would be for manufacturing, the light manufacturing, again, from the city's perspective, that there would be diversification of the jobs coming into North Point. On top of that, North Point has negotiated a 100% project labor agreement with the Will and Grundy County trade unions. What that means is that everything built within that park, sewers, streets, buildings, refitting of buildings is going to be done with local union labor and prevailing wage. North Point, finally, and I think this was crucial to the city's position, the city has negotiated that North Point will build a bridge from their park over Route 53 in the Center Point Park, a closed loop. All truck traffic coming or going from North Point will have to annex that route. This ties in directly with what we've been trying to do with the Hobolt Road. If this is done, truck traffic goes to Arsenal and I-55 or through the Hobolt Road up to I-80. That's the plan, to keep the trucks off the local roads and off of Route 53. And I know I wasn't part of the negotiations, Steve Jones, who led the charge on this, but the city's made it clear to North Point, if this passes planning commission, if it's annexed in, that we will approve or no permit until that closed loop is secure and that bridge is built. So again, I'm not trying to give one side of the argument. There are fair, reasonable arguments against doing this. It's something the whole council is going to have to debate. I just wanted to put out there, this is the agreement Joliet is negotiating with North Point. This is what's coming forward tonight to the planning commission and then possibly to the council moving forward. So that decision, like I think all decisions, is up to me and the city council. From my perspective, I think you have to do as mayor what's best for the people of Joliet, what's best for Joliet as a whole. That's how I'm going to approach that decision. I'm going to Kansas City next week. All but 2 council people have agreed to take that trip to see North Point's operation in Kansas City, and then we're going to make a decision here at the city level. So again, next up, it's 2019 in a quick nutshell. Thank you everyone for coming out. I always open up for questions. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. You know, it's odd. With the Chamber of Commerce, I rarely get questions. I'll give the speech in a couple weeks at Joliet Junior College, and I get peppered with questions out there. College kids are tough. But anything at all? Any topics? All right, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming out again.